You're probably wondering why I have a cheeseburger next to me. Well, am I going to help you create a recipe? Well, not really. However, I'm going to help you prepare a recipe of what I call as the cheeseburger structure of presentation. Well, guess what? A lot of my students, like yourself, you have actually asked me what it takes to have a great presentation. You need to know the cheeseburger structure. So what is it and why is it so helpful? Let's take a look. Well, a cheeseburger, as you can see, has a structure. Can you see the various layers? You have the bun, you've got the patties. It's got a structure, and therefore your presentation should also have a structure. If you do have a structure, it helps your ideas flow naturally. Okay, a good presentation requires that your message flows nicely. And of course, if your ideas flow nicely, it is only natural that people are going to connect the dots between your ideas and pay attention to you. And therefore, structure in speaking is so important because it is the mark of an advanced English speaker, right? So we are all trying to be advanced English speakers, aren't we? And therefore, we have to have structure. So as you can see, this is a cheeseburger. We all know what that is. And the first part of the cheeseburger is typically the bun, which in this case is going to be the introduction of our presentation. Then we have the various paragraphs. Now, I've just put in one patties over here, but there are many patties in the burger and we have several paragraphs, several parts of the content which refer to the paragraphs. And then you have linking words. Remember I talked about connecting the ideas? That happens through linking words. We also have linguistic devices to add the spice, the masala into your presentation. And those are your linguistic devices. And last of all, you have to conclude or have a great conclusion to summarize everything that you've spoken about. So as you can see, this is how a burger looks, and you want to keep the image of a burger in your mind when you are trying to think of a presentation structure. Because as you can see, you start with an introduction, which is the bun. Okay, so a burger has two buns. So these two buns are the introduction and the really great summary of the presentation respectively. And then you have linking words. The dots or the ideas in your presentation have to be well connected. And that is represented by the onions or the salad that we put inside our burger. And then you have linguistic devices, which is the spice, the extra fun that you have with your burger by adding the cheese and whatnot. Those are your linguistic devices which add that extra spice to it. And of course, your paragraphs are the main content. Can you have a burger without the patties? Of course not. So when you want to get to a great structure for presenting, think of a cheeseburger, and that is your cheeseburger presentation, which I'm going to talk to you about in detail. Okay, so that is what you need to know to be an advanced speaker. And speaking of advanced speakers or C1 level speakers, I have something very interesting to share with you today. So I want to talk to you about our specially designed English fluency course. Now, as you can see, this English fluency course comes in 3 parts. And these 3 parts have been curated by myself, as you can see. That's part number 3. And we've got Christine and Niharika who've curated the other 2 parts. Now, this course is called the English Fluency course. Why? Because it helps you speak English naturally, like a native English speaker. It does not take you through those bookish English which you've learned your entire school life. In fact, this entire course comes with a total of 450 smart English phrases with around 1,000 example sentences. And if you learn how to use those phrasal verbs or those expressions along with those sentences, it will set you apart as an advanced English speaker because you speak English naturally. Of course, it is available on all devices and therefore easily accessible. But to know more about it, why don't you click on the link in the description in this video? All right. In the meantime, I'm going to take you through our cheeseburger presentation. So let's have a look. We look at the key phrases to begin with because the introduction, the linking words, the conclusion, all of that have to be said by beginning with some key phrases. What are they? Let's have a quick look. What if I told you? Okay, you can start your presentation like that. What if I told you? Imagine if. To begin with regards. Maybe when you're starting your content, you could use this. Or as a result, as a consequence, when you're showing cause and effect between two things in a presentation, you could use this. For example, a case in point is, we have to corroborate what we are saying with some evidence, and that's when you give these examples. Or you could say, however, nevertheless. Remember, presentations come with certain contradictions, and that is when you can use this. Let's look at some more. In addition, moreover, you have to keep adding point on point in order to make your argument strong. That's when you can use this. And then you have, one can compare this to. When you are making your points clearer, when you're adding clarity, you have to make comparisons. You can alternatively say, it is the equivalent of. Okay? And last of all, when you are concluding, you can say, to wrap up or to sum up. So these were the key phrases, and I'm going to now help you use this in an actual presentation using the CheeseBurger structure of presentation. Well, our topic of presentation is going to be the use of AI, or what we know as artificial intelligence. So let's take a look at how we do that. Well, to begin with, we need to have the right introduction phrases. Do you remember the buns on your cheeseburger? Well, that's what the introduction phrases are. So you can start by saying, what if I told you that you could have your very own personal assistant 24/7, right? So you have to use a gripping introduction which will catch people's attention. You started by saying, what if I told you? Or you could say, imagine if you could have your reports created in less than 5 minutes, right? Now, let's go to the next part, which is paragraphs. Okay, we have many paragraphs. Assume this is paragraph number 1 on this topic. You can say, with regards to, okay, you introduce the topic by saying, with regards to automating your tasks, we can now take the help of artificial intelligence, which becomes our very own personal assistant. As you can see, I'm introducing the concept of artificial intelligence by relating it to how we can automate our tasks. Or you can also say, to begin with, let's look at a technology that can accelerate our tasks by almost 5 times, called artificial intelligence. Okay, this is a very nice way of introducing the actual concept. All right, now you also have another paragraph, right? Because you have to talk about more things with relation to artificial intelligence. So you add extra things. You can say, in addition, AI can make us extremely dependent on technology, that we sometimes fail to use our critical thinking skills. Now, maybe in the first paragraph, you went on to explain the advantages of artificial intelligence. But then in the second paragraph, you wanted to give more. And here you talked about the disadvantages. So the words that you see in red, what are they? They are nothing but the linking words or the transition words which help you connect the dots, which help you connect the ideas between one paragraph to the other. Okay, let's look at another way of saying it. Moreover, which means we're giving an extra point. AI can sometimes entail a huge cost for organizations, and this can raise budget concerns. Okay, this is another point about AI or artificial intelligence. Now, if you remember, I talked about linking words just now. Well, let's see how we can use linking words more effectively in a real sentence. As a result, or as a consequence, we can work more effectively and with precision. Now, this is a linking word which connects the cause to the effect. So, certain things happen, and as a result of that thing, another action takes place. In that case, you want to use a linking word which is as a result or as a consequence. You can also say, for instance, when you are giving examples, you better use for instance. We have been able to project 6 months sales by using, let's say, a certain app or a certain AI tool that works on AI. Or you can say, however, Nevertheless. Now, when you're giving contrast, when you are giving two contrasting opinions, you can say AI has its limitations, which include lack of customization and personal touch, right? So, you see, we're going through the entire structure of the presentation using the cheeseburger structure. Anyway, let's go to the next part of our cheeseburger structure, which refers to the linguistic device. Now, there are many linguistic devices, but I'm going to talk about a really great linguistic device which will add nice spice to the way you speak, which is analogy. Let's have a look. One can compare AI to a multitasking individual, someone who is very versatile. Similarly, AI can optimize processes, gain competitive edge in businesses, and streamline operations. Now, analogy is a way of comparing something that you are explaining with another thing which is very common. So everybody knows how a versatile individual is. So we are comparing AI to somebody like that. When you make that comparison clear, the concept becomes clearer to the people you are speaking to. And that is how you employ the use of analogy, which is a very powerful linguistic device. Or you can say AI is the equivalent, which means AI is almost equal to somebody having several versatile employees in an organization. Okay, so that is how we use linguistic devices. So now tell me, how do you conclude your presentation? There is one way to do it, right? Or let's think about the cheeseburger. The bottom of the cheeseburger is nothing but the bun. And therefore, we conclude our presentation by having a great conclusion because we have to summarize things very well, right? So therefore, you can say, to sum up, AI must be used to enhance human capabilities rather than relying on it completely. Or you can say, to wrap up, we must strike a balance between maximizing the benefits of AI while being careful about the drawbacks. So these phrases, as you see, to sum up and to wrap up, they are key phrases that you need to use when you are concluding or summarizing your presentation. The content could be anything. Right now, I am talking about artificial intelligence. You could be talking about anything else. But these phrases are a way to give the people that you are listening to a gist, a summation of whatever you've discussed so far, which is the right way to conclude. Well, that is it for the cheeseburger structure of presentation. I hope you've been able to understand how you have to structure your presentation really well in a way that makes you speak like an advanced speaker. So the next time you have to give your presentation, think about the cheeseburger structure of presentation. I'll be back with some more lessons. Until then, this is me saying, have a nice day.